was once so much suffering, now there is a new hope. I can see it.
In his State of the City address last week, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson said unsheltered homelessness is on the decline. But Multnomah County numbers paint a different picture.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson was elected on a platform of ending unsheltered homelessness. That, to very few people's surprise, has not happened.
The camps are kind of gone down a bit, but in the morning when they all get let out, you kind of see more of trash everywhere and like needles and people just kind of being restless at night. So I kind of see the rise.
The mayor has repeatedly said, specifically this calendar year, that he sees fewer people homeless on the street, and he knows that indicates a real change. And he has sometimes directly and sometimes kind of subtly challenged the holder of the data on homelessness, which is Multnomah County, and suggested that their data collection methods aren't sound.
Over the last 3 years, it has definitely gotten progressively worse. We have just garbage and just stuff impeding into the street, and it's getting out of hand.
Now, the tension between the neighbors and the homeless people are running high. We were here for 20 minutes, and we saw it firsthand.
I didn't care if it's backed up. You guys back this up all the time. This is wrong. It's wrong.
And later, this is really bad right now. I mean, this is like a war zone.
We have found no support for the argument that the county's numbers are incorrect.
So what I did is I ran a quick AI search when I read this headline. Multnomah County, where Portland is, Oregon, data shows rise in Portland homelessness. I wanted to know, all right, the Tri-County area, you got Multnomah County and the other two counties around it that basically support Portland. How much over the last 5 years has been spent on homelessness in the Tri-County area? And it's $2.77 billion is what AI came up with. And they broke it down, per year, per county, per entity, $2.77 billion. And guess what? Homelessness is going up. And that's because if you build it, they will come. $2.77 billion to the homeless industrial complex. They have built it. And they are growing in Portland. Let's get into it. Here we go. So just not a shocker, is it? And you've got the mayor of Portland saying, things are getting better, because he has to do this. Keith Wilson, he has to do this. He has to say, things are getting better. We're just about to the tippy top. We're gonna make it, and things are gonna be great. We're there. Meanwhile, Multnomah County's numbers say, no. Getting worse. It's getting 15% worse. There are more homeless people in the Portland area than ever before. That's not good. After spending all that money, what are we doing here? According to Multnomah County, this is the county. Now, Mayor Wilson is saying, I don't agree with the way that they aggregate their data. The Oregonian, we heard the Oregonian say, we looked at all the numbers and it looks good. Does this make sense that homelessness is increasing in Portland? Yes. And why is that? Because people know to go to Portland, Oregon, because of all the free bennies, all the free benefits. Till you cut that, San Francisco is going to a system where they're going to require you to be sober to get housing. I mean, what is going on there? Daniel Lurie down in San Francisco doing work. Even just the thought of that being a reality, that is such a conservative notion. Hey, we want you to actually get better. So we're going to encourage you to get into treatment for your addiction. We're going to encourage you to do that because we don't have any housing for you. You're going to have to stay out here in the streets. Or you're going to have to go to jail because we've pretty much outlawed it, and we've got a sobering center here for you. We can take you there. They're drawing the line. They're drawing a hard line in the sand. They are no longer coddling like Portland does. Portland absolutely coddles their homeless and just gives them free stuff. Just free stuff. Freebies. Here you go. Here you go. That's how you spend $2.77 billion on the homeless industrial complex, and the numbers get worse. The numbers get worse. It's phenomenal, and not in a good way. The county's latest numbers show that though Portland may be seeing visibly less homelessness, now they're just scooting them away from downtown. They're still there. They're still coming. They're still very visible, just not in the downtown core as much as they were. The people who are experiencing it still remain and in higher numbers, period. None of this, oh, it's better. It's better. You've played whack-a-mole. You've played whack-a-mole. Oh, we're going to move them here. We're going to move them there. And they finally got a position where, oh, it's better. There was once so much suffering, and now there is a new hope. I can see it, said Mayor Keith Wilson. All right. Well, I mean, he's got to cheerlead the city, right? He's the mayor. You can't sit back and go, God darn it. We really blew it on this one. Where did that $2.77 billion go? Where in the F did we spend that on? Because, man, I'm looking around and it looks like it's getting worse. What are we doing here, people? He can't do that, can he? No, clearly he can't. He's got to cheerlead the city. Keep Portland weird. Mayor Keith Wilson told a crowd at his State of the City last week that he sees Portland's homeless crisis trending down. The Portlanders said that they're seeing a different reality. There is a massive shocker there, right? Camps have been kind of gone down a bit, but in the morning, we heard this guy say that, when they all get let out, when they all get let out, I was kind of curious on that, right? When they all get let out. From where? Prison? No, from their tiny home, from their shelter, from their wherever. Skedaddle, homeless people, homeless whacked out drug addicts, skedaddle out of here because they got to go somewhere for the day. And that's why they go to the parks and just go hang out, do their drugs and, go to their tent. They go to their wherever, right? You see trash everywhere and needles and people being kind of restless at night because they're whacked out of their mind on drugs. So I kind of see the rise, said Andy. To me, it's about the same, honestly, said Matthew Kirby. So does Multnomah County. According to the county, as of February 18th, there are nearly 9,000 unsheltered people in Portland. It's a jump of about 2,700 from when Wilson took office. He hasn't been in office that long. What? A couple of years? Is it a couple of years? I think. And that's like a 15%. Just the numbers not going in the right direction. And it's because, and we all know it, that if you keep feeding a system, it's going to grow. It's going to grow. And that is not a good thing. You've got people all over Portland dependent upon the homeless industrial complex so that they can just do their drugs and they don't have to live a conventional lifestyle. They can just be whacked out of their mind. And they essentially just, taxpayers' dollars. How long is it going to take for Portland to wake up? It's not. Because of misguided compassion. People in Portland, they elected a dude like Keith Wilson. They elected Tear Gas Teddy. They're okay with this because if they weren't, they'd make different decisions with their politicians. But they keep voting progressive. They keep going down this road. And then they're like, God, what? Where's all of our taxpayers' dollars going to? Well, they're going to the homeless industrial complex that you built, and they came, period. Right? I don't think there's anyone trying to be dishonest. I just don't think the infrastructure is catching up with the need. So it just seems to be compounding, said one Portlander. The infrastructure is the problem. You need to make the infrastructure dependent upon sobriety, dependent upon detoxing, dependent upon getting into a 12-step program, dependent upon taking drug tests, dependent upon getting a psych evaluation and getting half these people into the mental health care that they need. But there's no real money in that. In fact, you spend a ton of money doing that. And so the real money is talking about the housing. It's a housing problem. If we just had more housing. So you don't think that people from California, people from all over the country, people from Washington State are going to go to Portland if Portland just has an amazing support system for the homeless that isn't dependent upon getting sober? Why wouldn't you go there? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go to Portland, Oregon? They support you and your drugged out lifestyle. And yet these numbnuts sit around and go, it's looking better. It's not. The numbers say otherwise, right? The other crazy thing about is how they do the population numbers. They do a pit count, a point in time count, where a bunch of numbnuts just go out and count. I see a homeless. and that's what they use for their federal numbers to get their federal dollars. It's so inaccurate. So, but when a county says, you know what, it's up, kind of makes me think, well, of course it's up because now you're going to get more money. Now you're going to get more money. But then Keith Wilson has to tell the constituents, oh, things are getting better. Their accounting is bad. I don't know where they're getting their numbers from. Those numbers are a new high and are gathered using a by name list that accurately reflects the number of people currently using homeless services in Multnomah County. Okay. That was kind of the one zinger for me that was like, all right, I mean, you got a list. We'll buy that for $1. In a statement, the county's interim housing services director, 𝗪𝗡𝗧𝗛, said she is confident in the county's data collection process. Even though our data shows an increase in the count of people experiencing homelessness, we agree with the mayor that there has been visible improvements in our county, particularly in downtown Portland. There you go. So what's the dealio? The dealio is the downtown Portland area kicks off, any downtown area of a big city kicks off a ton of tax revenue from the businesses, right? And Portland's downtown core is cored out. Just took an apple and, just cored out that center section with all the seeds and the kind of tough stuff you don't want to eat. And they emptied it out. They totally emptied out downtown Portland. And a lot of that happened with work from home during the pandemic. And it happened across all big cities in the United States. All big cities are struggling with how they're going to fill their high sky rises back up. How are they going to do that? What are we going to do? And then when you have street conditions that are terrible, like Portland, it's even further exacerbated, right? It's worse. So Portland is doing the right thing. They are focusing on the downtown core, but with their taxes, their leadership, street conditions, you're not going to have a ton of people. Mainly the anti-business climate in Portland. You're not going to have a bunch of businesses going, oh yeah, Portland, Oregon, let's move there. Portland, Oregon is basically dead last for real estate investment in the United States. Who was it? Connecticut? Hartford, Connecticut is absolutely dead last. Portland is 80th out of 81, something like that. I mean, you just look at all the lists of, worst place to be. And then quality of life. Portland is always up towards the top, right? Not as much anymore. I feel like we're going kind of backwards because I feel like they've put a whole lot of effort into setting the shelters up and giving them somewhere to go. Why are they taking all of our tax money to give them services just to take them away? All right. No matter what you do, if you shut one thing down, it's just going to travel to another part, and that's hard. And I think every neighborhood needs to have a chunk out of it, not just to shove it into different parts, said another Portlander. So it's wildly clear that even the Portlanders don't agree on what to do. But you can see in all the news reports, you can see in recent footage, people in Portland are getting pissed. People in Seattle are getting pissed because you've had years and years and years of just out of control homelessness. Cat's out of the bag, right? You can't put it back. You can't get it back in there. You can't wrangle it back in there. And you've spent so much money on purpose, by design, and now you've got all this funding. But it impacts local communities. It impacts a ton of local communities in Seattle. Seattle's having an absolute meltdown right now with homelessness and crime and just lack of leadership, anti-business climate, millionaire tax, statewide payroll tax proposed, just a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. And to me, this is all on purpose. This is by design. This is by design to absolutely shellac these cities, to shellac the West Coast. What's the end game? We're going to find out, right? We're going to find out because there is an absolute race to the bottom. Look at California. I don't think they could possibly do anything more to make it more expensive, overregulated, terrible leadership, just terrible decisions. Most expensive gas. Just list after list after list after list. Portland, same deal. Seattle, we are in the thick of it. the absolute thick of it, of, race to the bottom. I mean, when you elect a socialist for your mayor, I mean, one thing you can say about Portland? At least you don't have a socialist mayor. Whole thing is just wackadoodle, isn't it? So you got a deal where the data is such, and then you've got leadership saying, "Oh, it's better. Look at that. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't look at the data. Things are getting better, folks. We're on the up and up. Re-elect me this next cycle." Now, that's standard. I don't know what Mayor Keith Wilson of Portland is doing politically, but, the numbers on the homelessness don't lie. The numbers in the downtown business core don't lie. The people leaving Oregon, the people leaving Washington, the people leaving California, those numbers don't lie. So, like in basketball, you don't fall for a head fake. You don't fall for the head fake. You watch your opponent's core because they can't fake the whole core, right? Which way they're going to go with the ball. Can't do it. You watch their waist and above, just right there. And the data is the core. You can't head fake that. All right, what's the data say? Well, homelessness is up. And all that other list of nonsense I just kind of cited off to you. Those are the numbers that are showing that, we're in a race to the bottom. Race to the bottom. That's not where you want to go. Meanwhile, Texas and Florida and a bunch of other states, they're just humming along. Oh, look at those jokers in the West Coast. What a bunch of losers. Podcasts for days, weeks, months, years, decades. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.